I'm here with my producer and publisher, Melanie Davis. We're going to talk about healing after trauma.
It's great to be back with you, Dr. Evelyn. I am learning so much from you. I've learned from your book, which of course you see on my shelf there, and you've got it behind you. But this is kind of giving us all a chance to get even more in depth in what you wrote about and what you stand for. So I wanted to start this episode by asking you the question, how did therapy, because in the last episode we were talking about therapy and just what a difference that made in your life. And so it's something people tend to avoid sometimes. So I'd like to kind of stay on that a little bit and ask, how did therapy help you break cycles and recognize red flags that you couldn't see before? Essentially showing the value of the therapy and the effects that it had for you.
Well, after I went to therapy and I was very honest about everything, I felt the weight lift off of my shoulders because for many years I walked around with secrets. And when I walked around with those secrets, they were heavy, heavy burdens. And there was no way for me to be who I really am. I always felt like I was compromised because I was carrying around a heavy load. I couldn't be who I really was. That's how I felt.
Yeah. You probably didn't even know who you really were.
I was not. I didn't know.
You couldn't be it, but you gotta know it too, and I think that's really key. So, what were the breakthroughs? How did you start to find yourself, and what changes started to happen? Can you kinda cite some of those?
When the custody battle came about and I went to a therapist and I shared with that therapist a lot of childhood traumas that I had experienced. And after that therapy session, that's when Evelyn the Advocate came about. I don't it just felt like I said, it felt like I was just covered in layers when I was
Mm,
carrying the burdens without speaking about them, and when I released them, phenomenal things began to happen.
yeah, that's powerful. So, I think that's a good segue into my next question, and that is what role did self-awareness, which is what you're talking about, self-awareness and boundaries have in your recovery?
Self-awareness and boundaries played a significant role in my recovery because for many years I didn't really know who I was. I never had taken out the time to focus really on anything concerning my life or who I am. I never took out time to do that.
So from the therapy, you learned that you needed to set boundaries and put yourself ahead of the abusers.
Yeah.
That's hard, I think, for people to do sometimes. Certain kinds of people, especially. A lot of times, very empathetic people, compassionate people, where and people who come from certain kinds of childhood trauma, where you feel like you're supposed to fix everyone else. I think that's a
That's what my
common.
thoughts were. That's what I thought.
Yeah, to feel like you need to fix everyone in the process, you have 0 boundaries. Not only do you not have boundaries, but you're almost inviting people to come in and just invade
Just
your space.
walk all over you, and then you not say anything. You just
Yeah,
accept it for
and
some
people love that.
reason.
People with boundaries, they're not gonna get what they want from somebody with boundaries. They're gonna go to somebody who has no boundaries.
It's the truth. I lived my life that way for a
So do you
lot of
feel like that
years.
therapy taught you how to set boundaries and keep them?
Therapy, first of all, taught me who I am and that I'm a
Mhm.
person and that I was not responsible for any of those things that I experienced as a child.
Mm,
Though I was not responsible for those things happening.
yeah. Which people do carry responsibility for things that obviously wasn't their fault, but yet I think it's almost like a human nature, at least
Yeah.
for some personalities, to internalize it and make it your responsibility. And I
Mhm.
think that's where boundaries do become so important. Can you talk a little bit more about boundary setting and keeping for those who are struggling with it? Because I know you're good at it now, right?
I have boundaries, I have structure, and I'm not gonna say that everybody likes that. Some people, like you just said a few minutes ago, they do not want you to have boundaries. They would like for you to be easily manipulated so that they could feel like they're in control of you. But that's not happening with me anymore.
So part of setting boundaries is being able to accept the loss of people in your
Yes.
life. who are unwilling to live with boundaries that you have created.
That's right, who are unwilling to respect
Mhm.
another person's boundaries. So
Yeah.
some relationships end, and I was wondering if we were going to discuss this or not, but
Hmm.
I'm one. I do in unhealthy relationship. I am one that I do that. And from what I've read, that's a healthy personality trait to have. But society tries to make it
Mm.
look like it's unhealthy and you may have a mental problem or you're a difficult person, but that is not true. From
Yeah.
what I've read, psychiatrists say that ending unhealthy relationships is a positive personality trait.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and I don't know that anybody would argue that it isn't. I think what happens is it gets reframed. And this is really what happens, which is, oh, well, she's difficult. She
Yes,
can't keep friends. She loses friends because she's so difficult. And I think that's where society, we'll label it society, people will relabel you, and it's a very manipulative thing to do, because then you're like, oh, I'm not difficult. I have, I want everybody to love me. And so there's always this kind of almost a pendulum swing, right, between wanting to be liked and fit in and being able to really protect yourself. And I think that's where a lot of people find themselves kind of in swinging back and forth until they get strong enough to really put themselves first. And Evelyn, that's why what you're doing is so important, because the way that I see you, you are the model, the mentor, the advocate. It's such a good word that people need to be able to say, that's how it's done. You know what I'm saying?
thank you.
You are showing them.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that God allowed me to live through it because on plenty of occasions, I could have been unalived. So I am so glad that God let me live through everything.
And now this healing journey has led you to become Evelyn the Advocate. And I would love you to talk a little bit more about that phrase. It's your title, it's your moniker, right?
Yes.
It's the title of your book. It's the title of your YouTube channel. Can you just talk a lot more about what Evelyn the Advocate means?
Evelyn the Advocate means that when I was going through my divorce and my abusive situations and my difficult times growing up as a teenager, I looked for an advocate like Evelyn the Advocate, and I could not find one. There was really not one around. I'm just so glad that I've gained this knowledge and experience so that I can help other people because I was looking for an advocate, but like I said, I didn't have one, but I
Right.
had people involved in my life that loved me and that were advising me not to be in a relationship, but I was in a very confused state. Me as Evelyn the Advocate, I'm using those experiences that I had and educating people, hoping that they will be able to say, okay, that is what that means. That is what I experienced. They're explaining it to me. It's just a simple concept, but didn't have that person around.
Yeah. So with that, what you said, there wasn't someone like that for you. What advice do you wish that you had been given in that state that you have to give now? Like, is there any specific advice that you think would have helped you?
I wish I would have known the definitions of the word, like gaslighting. I wish I would have known when those things were happening. The word is gaslighting. I never really knew about that word. I just wish I just would have been able to be more educated and maybe a light bulb or something would have came on. But I just had no real information.
I think that's a great point. Like, gaslighting is a perfect example because it's such a very subtle manipulation when someone's gaslighting you and they're making you question reality.
Yes,
And it's a huge mental abuse.
yes,
But because it's mental, unless someone on the outside can help you see how you're not crazy, you're not wrong, It's what the abuser is trying to get you to think. You need to know about the tactic.
Yes.
That one especially, you have to know about that tactic in order to push against that tactic.
To
I
to
think that
know what's happening to you.
yeah, yeah, I agree. I think that gaslighting, what is a trauma bond?
Yes.
You know, we've talked about this before, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again. To understand that it actually becomes a actual physical dependency on the chemicals that are triggered
Yes.
by the love bombing and then the abuse that's followed, and love bombing, abuse, and it's messing with your own your own pharmaceutical production, you know,
Yes.
in your body. So do you get addicted even when they're horrible hormones? You're
And
still
never ending cycles when you don't
yeah,
even know what the stuff is called. It's just like a revolving door. It's like a merry-go-round that you will never be that will not stop, and you will never be able to get off of it because you don't
'cause
understand what's happening.
you cannot go to war against an enemy you can't see.
That's right. So
Yeah, and
knowledge is
I know
very
that.
important. Knowledge is important. Knowledge and awareness is very important to be able to live a healthy lifestyle.
And that's where your book and your radio show and your YouTube channel become critical because it, you know, for people to come and learn what you have to teach, because if they don't learn it, they'll never be able to overcome it, you know, whether from you or from someone else who's teaching it. But I think you're a very pleasant way to receive the information. You know, you are a very vibrant personality, and that helps. I think that really helps. And I love your book cover and the banner that's behind you, you know, with you and your
Thank
big
you.
purple boxing gloves, you know, just looking up, full of confidence, ready to take on your opponents. I love it.
And
And
when
that's
I
really
took that picture, it was
yeah.
like I'm fighting someone or fighting something. I can't really see it, but I'm gonna stay in this fight.
I think it's a powerful just visual that tells people you're standing up for them. You're fighting for them. Like you are. Physically, metaphysically, all those ways. You know, that's your life now, really. And I know that you're investing a lot in this
Yeah.
effort to reach people. And I think that's really important for listeners to know that, you know, you are, you know, you have a job, you have a very important job during the day. And then you pour every spare moment into being the advocate for other people.
I
And I
pour
commend you.
in because I'm in hopes
Yeah.
that people will get on a healing journey so they can find out who they really are and
Yeah.
their potential, what potentials they really have. Because you'll never know if you don't tap into it. If you don't get healed, it may be a point where you may not know who you really are.
Yeah, I think it's such a real inspiration to watch you ascend and know that and show what's possible. We have to believe something's possible
Yes,
before we and you're showing that it's possible. And that's that right there. Just to watch you, like I said in that picture, and just to watch you be so confident to just take it on and make a difference. And even getting the opportunity to have advocacy radio. And that's you know, it's a special invitation for sure.
that is my mind is still blown. I still can't believe it. I'm honored. This is my passion. This is my purpose. That's why I believe God is just allowing all these things to happen because He knows what we need. He knows what His people need, and He provides it every single time.
I love that. That's actually you're answering my last question before I even asked it. I love it. I'm gonna ask the question anyway because it might trigger a little bit more along the same lines. Because my last question is just what message of hope do you want to leave with survivors listening today? What hope can you give them?
Survivors and overcomers.
Hmm.
I would love to see you at your full potential. There are a lot more Evelyn the Advocates out there. I'm not saying that you need to be exactly like me because God has made all of us different, but I know that you have strength. I know that you are powerful, and I know that you have a voice that needs to be heard. I know that without a doubt. When you use your voice, you will be amazed at how much healing will come from that. It's an awesome feeling, and I'm waiting to see you. I'm waiting to hear you.
Oh, I love that. And you know, that's really speaking to my mission with Triumph Press and Triumph Press Productions. I'm all about helping people amplify their voice. And I do believe, I know for a fact that we heal when we share our stories. And so I think it'd be really good to just let people know that you're going to be bringing guests on the show. Uh,
Yes.
and if they want to be a guest on Evelyn the Advocate, which I love how you said, there's more Evelyn the Advocates. So all you Evelyn the Advocates out there, I invite you to go to Evelyn's website and just fill out the contact form and let her know. Evelyn, do you want to give all those details of how people can contact you and what they should do?
On the website, via www.evelyntheadvocate.org. That's the website where the contact form is located. I'm on Facebook as Evelyn Hemphill. Also, I'm on WDRB Media, Advocacy Radio, the voice of the community. You can always contact me there or just contact me and then we'll make arrangement.
Love it.
Because I want
Let's
to
get
hear your
people on your
story.
show.
I want to see your healing journey so that other people, we can hopefully influence others to heal also.